Morning, everyone. Wait a couple of minutes as normal. A few more seconds, guys. Okay, it's past. We can get started. Okay, all right. I've got the Euro CHF. Got a couple of trade ideas out today. I'll tell you, in here. Yeah, sorry. Right. Just want to give you an idea why. Been a bit weak lately. It has been a bit of a range trade. It is in the sell area and it's near the top of the range. So, and it is against the Swiss franc. So I thought there might be some downside here. The stop just up here. So it's not that wide a stop and take it down to whatever level that was. So and that's the reason behind it. So if you like it, clearly there you are. Yeah, and can take it. Don't forget, the signal I think said 40, it's 41, slightly better price, not much in it to be honest, but don't forget if it's slightly better price, go in the market. Do not put a sell stop in, rather get the price if you're happy with the trade, obviously. So there you are, you got all the details anyways, so there we are. The other one was the AUD CAD. We had some strength in the Canadian dollar creeping in yesterday because of the unexpected interest rate increase in Canada. The decision was increased by 0.25%. The expected was no increase. So that shook up the Canadian dollar quite a bit and strengthened it. I've got the daily chart again. Yeah, so basically, again, the sell zone, it's had a bit of a jump back up again. I think that's just a bit of profit taking. That's the normal noise. And again, so I thought there might be some downside here. It's popped up a little bit, but I mean, remember this, guys, you're not going to get the bottoms and the tops. I mean, when you enter clearly, psychologically, you want to go mid-euro way, it's always happened that way. But yeah, if you like the trade, we've got a decent stop. It's another 80 pips away from here. So if you do like the trade and you haven't entered it, you can go in now if you like it, of course, because you're getting a slightly better price. It's about 10 pips better price. So yeah, if you like it, there you are. Go in the market. If you don't do it. Okay. Excuse me. So I want to revisit trades got at the moment, jumping around. It was actually doing quite well yesterday. It's coming off quite nicely. This is the hourly chart. In fact, came right down here. We're doing okay with it. Then it pops up. To be honest, I'm not quite sure. A lot of guys do I hold it or whatever. I'm going to stick with the strategy, but I'm not sure what's driving it north at the moment. In fact, I have no clue why it's setting up. But anyway, I'm going to stick with the strategy. It's a bit irritating me, actually, to be honest, because as I say, I don't know why it's being pushed up. But it is anyway. That's the bottom line. So I'm going to hold it anyway. So if you're in that one, the other one that we have out at the moment, I think that's all. GBP CHF, you should have been knocked out in a profit because it did move up. And I was knocked out. I forget where, but anyway, I made a profit on it because I'd modified the stop below 1.3. Now, the next question is, if you're all out of that one, which you in theory should be, I'm looking maybe we can get a bit more downside. But I think maybe revisit in this session, maybe in a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes or so to see what's happening, just to remind me. Because there's not much evidence of sellers coming in as yet. So it's not really, let's look at 1 hour. So it's not really, see, no, it's not much. So they might get a bit more upside, but I think it's going to start to find the highs before it comes off again. Okay, I'm not quite sure whether Swiss is weakening a bit, but anyway, it is. So bottom line is, just check the economic calendar. Maybe something's cropped up there. I didn't notice. Certainly not a 3-star job, that's for sure. I noticed those straight away. Now, nothing particularly on that front. In fact, there's nothing really big today apart from the jobless claims coming out in the US at 2:30. It's not the only one really to worry about at the moment. Remember, next week's the big one with the CPI interest rate decision in America. Okay, so yeah, I think it's a possibility we can maybe enter this again on short, but just hang 5 to get a bit of confirmation, or might even get a better price. So keep an eye on that one. Okay, that's my take at the moment. I am looking as well at a re-entry to gold. I think most of you should have been out of gold now. I'm certainly out now. You should have all taken a profit if you've been in the trading room, modifying to profit. So I was out about 1955, something like that. Anyway, so I've made a profit. We got to 1970 and it didn't get the TP, but we don't know that. I mean, we have a TP, we have a target. You've got to have a target, but like life, you take a job at 18, 19, and it's still the same job when you're 50, 60. Career paths, like it, life changes. You should all be out of that one. But if you're not, I think it's got some upside. Hold on. If you are out of it, I think it's a possibility. It's like a range trade at the moment. It's reverted back there. I think it's a possibility, maybe another move back up again. I'm trying to trade that range. Even if it doesn't get to 1980 as a target, well, it doesn't matter if you get to 1970 or 65 or 60. And anyway, if you're stopped out in a profit, that's the main thing. So I think there's a possibility of upside here. What do you guys think? Any comments? You agree, Angel? Thank you. Anybody disagree? Anybody agree? What do you think? I think more than 1942 earlier on, but I think it's 1945 is okay. We certainly get a stop and TP on it. Oh, well done, Jan. Okay, there you are, on top of it. Gold has been good to us. So has Brent, actually. Brent's back at nearly 77. Brent's been pretty good. I think the last 10, 11 trades, I've only come short twice. No, I'm not sure as in selling short. I mean, you know, it didn't work out. All the others seem to come right. And gold seems too bad. Anyway, so your hand's already ahead of the game there. 43, 42, good stuff. Yeah, okay, I'll put a reward up, risk reward up, RR as they call it. I think I'll stick the 28 down here somewhere. Yeah, I'll stick the 28 last time. Might as well do the same as last time to maybe to get to 1980. Put it up there anyway. Don't forget, you can modify the SL, modify the TP, don't forget. Okay, so if you like that, do you want to do that? That's the one. Take that as a yes, Brady. Should I put that down? Trading idea for the room. Don't forget, one position size doesn't fit all. You can see there, if you're taking the trades, only 35 rand a micro. So if you're in a micro on maybe the pound dollar or the euro dollar, whatever it is, has 150, it's a very different to 35. So work it out accordingly. Remember that, because again, it's some sort of, I don't know what it is, some sort of problem here. 35 rands a micro. Do your maths, get your position size and volume correct. Anybody want to join? I think Jan's already on board. Brady, I was upset because I got kicked out of your doing stuff around. Whoa. I am so broken-hearted. If you're kicked out around 1967, oh, shame. You got a better price than I was kicked out, my friend. Well done. Yeah. Okay, so you're going for it. So I'll put that buddy put down because I'm looking like a couple of guys have gone for it, so we can revisit later. There you are. If you just enter the trading room, we've got a couple of trades sent out today, Euro CHF and AUD CAD. Both of them sells. And the details are there. I think both get a slightly higher now. So if you want to take it, you get the advantage, get you a better price. So if you like it, go in the market and work out your position size accordingly. And if you like the gold, there you are. Oh, we're good there. It's a bit of background noise. Just unmute. If you want to chit chat, please let me know, and I'll unmute immediately. Okay, where was I? Yeah, okay. I say keep an eye on the GBP CHF. There might be a possibility of this one going in again. Okay. So keep an eye on it. Might get a better price. I think that's going to come off. So what's the weekly say? Weekly is giving a bit of a technical problems there. A little technical damage breaking above there, but is that going to hold? We shall see anyway. So I'm not suggesting you jump in now. I think keep an eye on it, but I'm not sure that's going to be maintained upward, but we shall see. I think it's a possibility to keep an eye on. Okay, so coming back, AUD CHF again giving us a bit of jip for some reason. I don't know why it's up to these sort of levels here. So if you can ask me, I'm going to quite frankly say I don't know what's happening there. I don't know what's suddenly going to push that up. But anyway, that being as it may, I'm sticking with the strategy and hope it comes off, because it was doing okay yesterday, like I mentioned, right down here. In fact, this one stage is down there, which is not too bad. But anyway, we'll see what happens there. Okay, right. Another one I'm trying to keep my eye on if we get a better price is this one here. We did all right last time, and I think we could possibly this next time around. But I'm trying to get a little bit close to 153 after we get confirmation. Don't put a pending order in now. It might break through, get a better price still. But buy the pullbacks is the name of the game on this one, and we might get a slightly better one. My only slight issue is a little bit of Japanese yen strength creeping in. So if we don't get 153, you might get a bit better. We'll see, but keep an eye on it. Okay, just keep a few there to keep an eye on for you. I haven't really got any big share ideas, unfortunately, so shares a bit quiet at the moment. In fact, the market's been pretty quiet. I think all of you noticed. Pretty sideways. It's a bit extremely directionless. I think we all know the reason why, because the next week, big one's coming out. But even so, it is very directionless. I think people are very nervous at the height of the market, the height of the share market, etc. And so I think people are getting a little bit nervous and not going in with the volumes of confidence and trade size they have, because I think it's probably a bit overcooked. I did mention yesterday I wasn't very happy with the NAS trade. It was sent out because the majority of I put my hand up and said I wasn't pro it, and it looks like didn't work out too well. I thought again it was overcooked. I didn't say I wanted to sell it. No, I want to stay out of it. Didn't want to go in the NAS or the Dow at this stage of the game. But if I had to, I did see a bit of downside. That seemed to come to the party. I'm going to stick with my guns on this one. It's the bottom of the range, and it's in the buy zone. Should we get some upside? I'm just very nervous. A lot of fundamental reasons behind it. I'm thinking the NAS can be brilliant, but we also need a bit of patience. I think just wait a little bit. We could get a bounce here, but extended it. I just think there's too many reasons why to do it and too many reasons why not to do it. I'm not confident. I'm 65% or better certain of any particular direction on this. So I'm going to personally stay out of it, but could get a bit of a bounce here. But sorry if you guys did go on the loft. I did voice in the trade room. I wasn't so keen on it, but being as it may, that's the way it is. Okay. Well done on WTI. Oh, I see. I thought Brent WTI. Yeah, I'm still expecting a bit more upside. The reason why it hasn't gone up and sustained the move up, despite the $1 million, well, $1.5 million, but it's going to be $1 million cut in July, not now, in July, by OPEC, is because of a bit of a slowdown in the Chinese economy. I mentioned that before. China's the biggest input by far in the world this month. They're making a fortune on it. Well, they're about 10 million barrels a day. It's something ridiculous. It's astronomical. You put that to $70-odd a barrel, what they're importing. Hectic. Anyway, that being as it may, a little bit slow down, which took a little bit of the grind out of the jump in oil price. But still, I still think that the producers do not want to see below 70. I think they want to see near the, well, we're talking about WTI now, 75 to 80, one about 80 maybe on Brent. Remember, Brent's slightly more expensive. It's a slightly higher quality. And also a hell of an expensive to dig out the bloody North Sea as well. Those rigs cost a fortune, plus to man them and the rest of it. And it's, yeah, so the cheapest to dig out is the Saudis one. It's the least quality, but still, oil's oil. And that's why you have a slight difference in price between the three of them. But yeah, if you're in oil, stick with it on the long. If you're short, I'd be a little bit worried. And I think some guys went on back in again on Brent after making a profit from the previous one. And if they did, they're up nearly $2 a barrel. And clearly, and I would agree with you, I think some more upside is going to come about here. I'm not sure the producer's going to want to sustain a $65 to $70 WTI, that is all price. So I'm happy with that. Okay. With that. Welcome back, Pietro. I trust you got your battery sorted out. I haven't had, where I am, actually, load hasn't been too bad last couple of days, but yeah, it is a hassle. But anyway, I'm glad you're back on board. And welcome and good morning. Okay, so that's oil we just mentioned. Gold, I think a couple of guys have got it. Round about that level there. Yeah, so any questions? Anything you want to go over again and you just joined or you missed or you want to recap on? No problem. It is sideways the market. I did mention that yesterday and I mentioned it again now. It is frustratingly sideways. It's extremely directionless. And it's just bear that in mind when you see the ups and downs. You've got a strategy, you got your volumes right, just stick with a strategy. That's good. So actually it was a substation. It was load shedding, it was an actual breakdown. Okay. So I think, I'm not an expert on this, but I think they just about run to ground these. They haven't had much maintenance done over the last few years. And they're a bit sort of getting old, basically. And yeah. Okay, right. School all day. Okay, well, coming back to school here, trading room school. Okay, guys. Yeah, we discussed gold. We discussed the two trade ideas this morning, and we did a quick recap. So basically, any questions anyone want to look at whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to put the economic calendar up for the guys. It's always usually kept a couple of new guys come in. Just don't forget, I'm going to paste this in the chat line. Please save it. We can forget sometimes to check it, but at least have it there to check. Rather when you trade, have it minimize your laptop so and the other, so you can refer nothing major coming up that could screw the system up. Like I mentioned yesterday about the Canadian, a little bit wary interest rate decision coming out, and you might have got lucky or unlucky. You don't know which way it's going to go, so rather leave it. Okay. I'm going to stick with it. It's very much sideways. I'm going to stick with the strategy. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to put in the other one for you as well. That's the yields on the 10-year note. I mentioned it before. Just keep an eye on that. I think okay. There we are. And I'm going to put my name up as well. As always, I just have to mention, I'm not going to support you on the demo account. The demo only lasts for a month, and it's purely there to make you comfortable and operating the platform. Don't try, you might try a new strategy maybe, but don't try and do demo trades and think you're learning how to trade. If you take the emotion out, you're taking 80% of the difficulty of trading. So, but anyway, I won't advise in a demo. Some people don't realize that. I'm just saying, we don't, not me, but brokers don't do that. It's just the way it is. And please have a properly funded account. If you've got a couple hundred rand in there, I can't add any value. You're undercapitalized. So make sure if you get the a reasonable capital to play with. Trying to fight a market with international market. Limited capital is always going to be very limiting. Okay. Just let these guys in. Okay, good. All right. So yeah, we've looked at gold this morning, and we've looked at AUD/CAD. What's it doing at the moment? Anything happening there? It's popping up, going the wrong bloody way. Charming. Not quite sure why, but it is. Most of the guys liked it. We're on the 1 hour now. We've sent out before 9 o'clock. We seem to be holding on the 1 hour. Seem to be holding on the 4 hour at this stage, but for some reason it's popped up. I don't know why. Buyers and sellers, a lot of emotion flying. I don't know. Anyway, there it is. It's popped up a bit, unfortunately. Not a hectic amount, but it has. AUD/CHF. We'll just see if that can actually pull back a bit. Just remember the noise and movements, the short-term of the market, they're pretty unpredictable. It's just buyers and sellers all over the world getting out and shoving around a bit. But we'll see. Anyway, URCHF, it's about break even at the moment. Back to entry again. So you've got a slightly better price. Should be a bit of a profit. A bit quiet. Lady, it's I just mentioned I wasn't very pro that trade. I personally thought the NAS, even though it was in the buy zone, technically was overcooked on a fundamental basis. So I wasn't happy with it. But the company overrode me and sent it out. I didn't want to sell it either. If I had to, I'd rather be short than long, but I didn't do either. And I did mention that trading room. You got your stop in, it might get a bounce. If it's still in it, you might get like you get a bounce. It's come down to support. There might be just purely on technical, nothing fundamental involved here. A bit of short covering, those who went short, and maybe attract a few buyers for the range. So it might go up a bit. If you're not on it, I love the indices, but rather stay clear at the moment. There's too many balls in the air. Okay. You can ask me in all honesty, I'm 50-50 where it's going to go there. I want to be at least 65% confident. And that 50-50 ain't going to cut it for me. I could easily come back a bit, jump up a bit. Slight likelihood, I think, might get a bit of upside, to be honest. But that's just a range bounce. But yeah, sorry guys, I wasn't keen on that one. Yeah, there it is. Okay, fine. Yeah, thanks for interacting, by the way. It's very important. Very important you do that. I just mentioned, yeah, you got my name there. If anyone's got, you know, got an account and they've added funds to about 2,500 Rand or 150 US dollars, just WhatsApp me and I'll upload you to the QT group. Okay. I am busy putting together basically another type of group for the guys who've got serious money in there, so I can spend more time, just so you know that. That'll be completely separate, but that basically means, I give it sort of fancy names, but in bottom line, it means that I can spend far more time with them if they wanted, of course. From a company's perspective of mine, it's obviously justifiable from a business perspective. Okay, right. I think we've covered that. Just like I'm sorry, reiterate again, it's a bit sideways, the market. And to be honest, I think it's going to be pretty. Don't forget, oh yes, jobless claims 2:30 in the US. Don't confuse that with the jobs report once a month. It's just the jobless, weekly jobless claims. That might push the dollar a little bit, but that being as it may, I think going into Tuesday next week, we're going to get a sideways. The sudden increase in the Canadian interest rate has put a bit of a jam in the works, spanner in the works, actually. So I think it's going to be even more keener eye on the CPI figures coming out on Tuesday next week. Again, don't forget, we're having a session on that at 2 o'clock, 2 to 3, on this Zoom ID here, yeah, Trade Room Zoom ID, where we're going to trade that CPI and hope we continue making a quick couple of bucks like we have in the past. So those guys, please attend that and then make some money, but not on a demo and not if you've got a few $100 in there, because we can only have just over 100, right about 100 anyway. We don't want to take up somebody who's got some money in there and want to do it, seat up, because you're in there just because it's a fun idea. If you can, you know what I'm saying? So if you want to take part in it, put some money in your account, or ask me. I don't mind showing how the strategy works. You do it yourself if you want. But yeah, just bear that in mind. Hey, man, one dealer, we don't want a guy not to be able to get in who wants to seriously trade it with somebody who's basically on a demo is taking a place. It's not fair on that guy. Not doing me. I don't mind. Fill out 500, you'll all be there. I'm just saying, trying to make it fair on some of the others. So don't forget that, and don't forget again, interest rate decision. I think a little bit depending on what the figures of CPI, but slight majority thinks there's going to be no increase, but the CPI could stuff that up. So just bear that in mind. It's going to be fairly sideways going into next week. So I keep pointing that out, but just so you know, remember. I know it's frustrating, it's quite like this. It's incredibly frustrating, but the reason behind it. Yeah, sometimes it's all go, 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 and sometimes patience is the name of the game. And I'm with you on that. I'm not the world's most patient myself. That's why I like derivative markets, because it's leverage, it's quicker. But sometimes you're going to be in a traffic jam. It's slow. Okay, just looking at the GBP sit up on the screen there. A couple of sellers might be coming in. Do you think we're jumping the gun a bit? Anybody there? Or do you think we can look at it? If you like the look of maybe entering this one, we can. I know it's in the buy zone, but I think it's a bit overcooked at the moment. Top of the range. It's a bit overvalued, the pound against the Swiss franc. I think we might get some downside. If you're not keen, well, I won't put it up. But if anybody's there keen, I'll put up the calculator for you. Just going to make sure anyone wants to chit chat about it. So you're all unmuted. Just unmuted everybody if they want a question about it. It's very important we all participate. Add to the be proactive here. Very important. Interactive forum, this. Yeah, let's look at the euro again. What's happening there? Something daily on the euro, is it? GDP euro. Funny, that's only 2 stars. Quite surprising that. But take your point. Coming out at 11 o'clock. It might be a bad idea. Looks good in the EJ, okay. The EJ, how far away is it? I say 8 pips you can, but that's a buy on the EJ. It's a buy, it's not a sell. Okay. If you like it for the EJ, it's a buy. That's the momentum trade. But I think it could actually come off a bit. Okay. Just on that rating a bit, and patience name again, I'm just mentioning it in your exercising. I'm quite happy with that. Again, don't forget, make sure you've got free margin in your account. That is, again, one of the problems when you're undercapitalized. You're always battling with the lack of margin. And accordingly, then you're going to miss out on trades because you just don't have the margin. But rather don't go for the trade than get margin called because you're using up all your free margin. Margins deposit, that's collateral for the lender. Take away the collateral, they'll withdraw the loan. Basically, they'll close your trade. Very frustrating, especially if it turned out to be a good trade. Pete, that's 100%. This is what we want. People have their own opinions. It could well be right. 11 o'clock, we're 2 stars of GDP. It could help that euro upwards. It could well be. Clearly, I'm going to stick to the guns. I wouldn't have set the bloody thing out. Well, not even set out company, but I wouldn't have suggested it to the company as a sell and change my mind, suddenly after half an hour later, it's a buy. So I'm quite respectful of your position on that. You might well be correct. I'm going to stick with that one, but that's up to you. Right, EJ. This is nothing to do with anything you learned in class anywhere else. It's just something that came up about a month or just over a month ago in the trading room where we were looking at purely momentum. We weren't looking at anything else really. With the exception, you don't want to go into anything just before a major fundamental comes out. So always check. The major interest rates coming out in the Aussie dollar, you leave it alone. Okay. But that apart is pure momentum. So what you do is you go to the daily. This is with one example mentioned, and you see, is it above, not the black line in this case, just the brown and the blue. That's the 50, that's the 100, that's the 200, and that's the 10. Simple day, simple moving average, and that's the 8-day exponential. More of that just now. So if, never mind the black, so above the brown and the blue, you're looking to buy it. If it's between the two, you're looking to ignore it. And if it's below the two, you're looking to sell it. So when you find entry, it's got to be above the 10 1-hour moving average. So you immediately look at this one daily, so you're looking to buy it. As I say, I'm sick. I expect a bit of a sell here on the longer term, but for momentum trade, pure momentum, these guys, pure momentum trade, we look to buy it. Then you go, this is what Madiri pointed out, went to the hourly and see it's above. If it was below, we wouldn't touch it. It's above the 1 hour. Now, the next thing you check, how close is it? It's only a few pips away. It was about 20, 25 pips away. You missed it. But there, it's only about 4 pips away. That's fine. So that was the reason why he mentioned EJ, named after a guy. I don't know where he's gone, actually. He hasn't been in the train for a while. Went to Japan, I believe. It's still there. So we just named it after him. So EJS or EJ strategy, EJS, whatever you like to call it. EJ is easy enough. That would be a buy on that person. I'm going to share a quick one again to make sure you got the idea. Let's try GB. What's the next one on the line? Next one, GBP JPY. Clear in the buy. That's clearly in the buy zone on the daily. Flip over the hourly. It's not above the magenta 10 hour. It's an hour. Remember, it's not the 10-day, it's a 10 hour on this one. It's not above it, so you leave that alone. Okay. Okay, Sam, you got that. Do one more if you like quickly. Let's pick one random one. Let's go down to New Zealand for change. Try NZDCHF. Right. Daily, it's in the sell zone. It's below these two, so you're looking to sell it if it's below the red line on the 1 hour. Well, clearly it isn't, so you leave it alone. I was possibly to sell on this one, actually, on the normal. Then my EJ on the normal. I think there's a possibility to sell there. But we'll come back in a minute. Have you got that, Sam? No, it's just something we evolved in here. We agreed it, and just pure momentum. Simple as that. Nothing particularly spectacularly, scientifically brilliant. Just to try it out in the daily, then the hour, just to give a confirmation entry if it's above the short-term moving average, or below, depending which way you go. Okay, had some reasonable success on it. Okay, purely momentum, no more, no less. As long as you got the mechanics and understand. If you don't like it, don't do it. Just as long as you get on. At least you know it to have a choice whether you like it. An extra string to the bow or whatever. Good man. Okay, now I just want to mention the 8-day on the day. Remember, it's an 8-hour. What's the purpose of this one? She's here at the moment. Is she? No, she's not here at the moment. Anyway, never mind. Anyway, the point is, as I mentioned many times, one of the more difficult areas when to get out. You're doing well, you can modify stop loss, etc., but when to exit the trade. So this particular lady back tested the 8-day exponential moving average. That, let's say you're going long on this one. Just example, you'd hold on to that long above the 8-day. If you get a 4-hour candle that's closed below the 8-day moving exponential moving average, or in this case, on the 4-hour, then you would exit it. She uses 2 times 4. I think 1 4-hour might do it. Anyway, it's just trying to get another area when to try and exit the trade, and not get out of the trade too early and run with it. It's not 100% involved, but just trying to look at new ideas, obviously trying to maximize the upside and minimize the down, basically, and running with winners and not taking them too quickly. As I say, incorrect volumes and grabbing the profit too quick in case somebody takes it away from you, and then missing out on a decent run, but holding on to the downside because you don't want to take the loss, and then you take often a bigger loss than you expected. And for goodness sake, don't modify the stop loss away from the market. That's just increasing the risk. Remember, you do the calculator, you worked out that stop loss. You start moving away, all your calculations will be out the window. It takes time, but it's unfortunately we're emotional creatures, and it takes quite a long time, and that happened to me, to try and control that emotion to a certain extent. We won't get rid of it, but it stands as it. Because unfortunately, it's the major problem is a lot of guys just trade purely on emotion because it looks like a good idea, or that looks a bit high, I'll sell it, or I'll buy it. It's a bit of red there, I think I'll get out of it. Oh, hang on, then it jumps around, goes up. That's just emotion, usually from lack of knowledge. Get a strategy, stick with it. Okay, hope we're all clear on that. Euro ECHF, you might be right. Pete, let's have a look at it. EUR-CHF. Well, it's still about break even. I'm sticking with the sell. If you want to buy it, you can. If anyone wants to join Pete in doing it, I'll put a risk reward up for them with pleasure. But I'm just sticking with the strategy. AUD is giving us some jip. So hourly might come off a bit. At least it's trying to come off. Let's hope it comes right. This one is trying to come off. It's just sideways jumping around. So a bit frustrating more than anything else. Okay, if you took the gold trade, it's going into profit, which is good stuff. Okay. All good? Okay, just while I've just got a quiet moment, don't forget, right click on your charts, go to templates and save your template. So if you lose your charts, just put your name in there and save it. If you lose your charts, just right click and then you go to it and then you pick on the one you like. You can have several saved. It just makes it a lot easier and quicker. If you want to know some information about the instrument, left click on the instrument of choice, right click, and then left click on specification. It gives you the contract size. It gives, remember that's in points, it's a 2.5 pip spread, and it gives you the margin. If you divide that figure into 100, it will give you your leverage. I'm pretty sure a lot of guys now still don't understand we're in leverage, high risk, high return, hopefully. Trades, this is not equity, it is a derivative of it. Now there's a deposit you put down, like buying a house. You want to know your leverage, divide the deposit into 100, and that'll give you your leverage. So if it's a £1 million house, 100,000 rand deposit, 100,000 a million is 10, so your leverage is 10 to 1. If it was a 10,000 rand deposit, it'd be 100 to 1. 2,000 rand deposit on a £1 million house is 500 to 1. Puts in perspective why highly leveraged ones, if you don't understand pros and cons of leverage, rather not go for that area, because you think, hang on, I haven't got much money, I'll get a higher leverage. What a pleasure. It doesn't take much movement to £1 million house, percentage-wise, to knock your account. Okay, a tiny movement of £1 million, you've got a £2,000 deposit, you've got a problem. So fantastic leverage, as long as you understand it. Okay, we're all clear on that. I don't know if you entered early, Angels. No, let's be fair, you're not going to get it 100% right. Sometimes that's luck and judgment. It was the time, what happens if you didn't enter then, and you went off, you're not on board, you missed it, or you chased it at the worst price. It's popped up a bit. Some guys who missed it, get it if they like it, get a better price. And some guys missed it, they can't because the ship's already sailed. Just, you've got your strategy, you've got your calculator. Don't forget, if you haven't, please, for goodness sake, get this thing here. Do not go shopping if you don't know your budget. Put in the figures there, and that will give you the amount per micro and the risk reward. And that means your strategy is there. So you're not risking what you can't afford to risk. Simple as that. So when you go in, you say, I can afford to risk that, let the strategy go, and then you don't have to stare at it all the time. And please, you know, if you've got £1,000 in your account and it's 150 rand per micro risk, you can't go for the trade. You don't want to be risking 15%, which you're overexposed. Remember, the international norm is 2%. Don't forget that. Fortunately, small accounts, you have to overexpose, you never trade. And guys with 500, basically, 50 rand should be a maximum risk. But the problem with that, how many traders ideas you can get with 50 rand risk is very, very limited. And even if you do like a gold one with a 30 rand risk, the amount of work you're going to be doing for the kind of returns, it's like working for 2 rand a month. You're going to get tiny, tiny returns because you haven't got the capital. But the work is still as much work involved. You've got 500 or 500,000. Just means you can work a hell of a hard and getting spot return. You'll understand that. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. It's coming off at all. It might come right. It's trying to come off. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. Let's have a look. Anything else you guys would like to look at or ask? Don't forget, interacting is very important. Anything you want to go over again or check again, or some trade you're in? What do you think? Hi, Edward. Welcome back. Haven't seen you for a while. Welcome back. Okay. Yeah. Anything you want to chat about? I've covered most of the stuff. You all got your calendar to check on, your dollar index. Any of you guys there not too sure? For something? It's quiet. We can do a bit of clarification or going over stuff if you like. Yes, you're quite right, Cecil. It's when you take a step back, it's common sense, really. You know, It's common sense. What else can I say? No point putting a million in if you've no idea what you're doing, but there's no point in learning everything and have no money to make use of it. It's like 10 years to study law, 10 years to become a doctor, and then go and work for 10 rand a month. What's the point? So you do need the capital, you do need the knowledge, of course, you need the equipment. It's no good having the knowledge and the money, but you got no Wi-Fi. I'm not quite sure. It's on every Wednesday, by the way, Roy. So if you missed it, it will be on again next Wednesday. He's doing it every single Wednesday. But I'm not sure, actually. Might have been recorded. You can check on like the Zoom recording for the trading room. I post on the portal. So you go to the portal, go down to the bottom of the menu, see social media and YouTube. Might be on there. It might be recorded on there. Be honest, I don't attend it because we definitely need to. I did once just to get an idea of it. I don't really attend it. But if you can't find the recording, Roy and Company, don't panic. It's on every Wednesday. You've got the ID, you've got the times, 7:30. You can revisit it. But yeah, maybe if you go on the live chat and ask on there, training support or something like that, they might know. Or general. Actually, the general one was Dwayne. He's the manager of the support side there. He'll certainly know. He probably posted it. Actually, come to think of it. So go on to the general inquiries on live chat and ask Dwayne there if it's if it's recorded and where, and that should sort you. Okay. Yeah, so I'm saying, Cecil again, yeah. If you haven't got the funds, there's not much you can do about it. You might all want to buy a Lamborghini, but if you haven't got the funds, just one of those things. But the problem is a lot of guys do have the funds, but they're scared, so they put a little in, hoping that's going to work out for them. Unfortunately, they're putting a lot of work in for a little, you know what I'm saying? To press a button to put in 10 lots instead of one, it's about the same amount of effort. But your risk is high, clearly, but your return will clearly be higher. So if you're terrified to risk 100 and you can only risk 50, that's fine. But your returns are going to be only about 60, 70 if you get it right. A lot of work for 70 bucks, you know what I mean? It's just, again, it's an emotional natural thing. It's called the fear factor. We're all risk averse. Everybody is. But unfortunately, that's part and parcel of the job. Okay, good stuff. Any other questions, guys? Anything you want some clarity on? Don't mind if off topic. That's very much on topic. It's an important question. Anything be off topic if you want to talk about the French Open or the golf or something. I mean, I'd love to talk about it, but yeah, that is really off topic. But otherwise, no, that's fine. We need this times of quiet trading to chat about these things so we can all together improve. You might come up with something the other guys didn't know, and now they do know. Don't forget, know how to operate the platform. I don't want guys in trades calling me up and say, I want to get out. How do I do that? You shouldn't be in a trade if you don't know how to exit, or you don't know how to modify. You need to, you don't have to be expert on it, but at least, you know, the basics of how to operate the platform. Otherwise, the signals coming in are no good to you. Okay. The whole idea behind this, remember, is to teach you how to fish. You'll always have the trading, we'll always have people to interact with, but it's nice if you have some idea what's happening. Like Pete himself said, he's looking maybe going along. He's thinking, you know what I'm saying? He's learning enough to think a bit. Don't say he's right. He might be right. I might be wrong. The point is the thinking aspect. Neither right or wrong. The illustration of the motor is just sitting there. Snell racing job. That ADCHF's a bit Snell racing. Okay, guys, newer guys, any questions? Anything you're not too sure about? And you just want some clarity on again? Please, this is the time to ask. It's quiet, not many trades flying around. The market's very quiet. We've got the Zoom going. Don't ask them on a WhatsApp or a live chat. when you got the opportunity on Zoom, where you've got the charts can be fully explained properly. You get a lot of that. They're a master trader and then they say, teach me how to trade on a WhatsApp. Well, that can't clearly happen. Okay, Anne-Marie, good stuff. Catch you mañana if you can make it, of course. And don't forget again, if you see a trade and it's a better price, go at market. Don't put a sell stop or a buy stop in. If you like the trade, good at Aston, you like it. Then you look at the figures. If it's better, you go for it. If it's worse, depending how far away it is, 3 or 4 pips might make a lot of difference. If it's more than 10 pips, often you might have to wait for it to come back again, or you miss the trade. And get those volumes right. As I say, they're doing it during the week as well on the platform Zoom. But I'm filling in for Clinton on Saturday morning on the position size calculator. Just so if you already know it, well, you don't waste your time to get bored. You already know it. If you're still not sure of this calculator, you can join me at 9 o'clock Saturday morning because it's critical. And Cecil, hey, you back me on that one, eh? Critical having that calculator to get those volumes correct. And it takes a lot of sweat off your head. I mean, it takes a lot of worry away because you know before you go in what you're going to risk. And if you can hack it, then do it. And your mind's at rest.
Hi, Roger. Hello.
Hello there. Good day, Wandile.
Yes. I've been having my hand up, but I can see you are not recognizing it on the screen.
Say again, sorry?
Now I'm saying I've been having my hand raised.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, I've been trying to connect, but since I had network issues this side, I wanted to ask something. Yesterday, I noticed that my MT5 was having some issues. I was trying to get out of the trade, gold trade, by market execution, but I realized that I could not because the platform was not allowing me to. I tried over the phone, same thing happened. I don't know, maybe it was because there was too much volatility on that trade. I don't know. I wanted to find out from your experience. Does that happen maybe from time to time? Or is it something that has got to do with the broker, or it's just MT5 itself?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's got nothing to do with volatility. Gold's a highly traded instrument, commodity, and there's plenty of liquidity. Liquidity means buyers and sellers. So when the gold market's open, which it would have been, it goes only closes the weekends. Liquidity's there. You should have been able to exit. It's nothing to do with quick trade, say you can't get out. Sometimes they might say close only, so you can't take new trades for whatever reason. But that's not a problem. But if you're in a trade, you've got to be able to get out if the market is open. And yesterday, the market was clearly open. So that brings back why couldn't you? It could have been a Wi-Fi glitch your side. I didn't see any problem. Good to go. I didn't see any problems my side. I had my stop in anyway, and I'd modified it. And I think it kicked me out at 1955 anyway. 1957. Anyway, it doesn't really, that's irrelevant. Anyway, I was kicked out automatically. But if you're manually trying to exit and you couldn't, and the market's open, then it sounds like a glitch, either your side with Wi-Fi or it could mean a glitch with MT5. Now, there's a lot of guys in gold. So and so if it was a glitch about exiting, I think we'd had quite a large amount of people calling in saying, why can't I get out? The fact you're the only one that's mentioned it, I'm leaning towards suspecting it might have been an issue on your side. But I just want to clarify one dealing, guys. If the market's open, you want to get out, you can. That the liquidity is there to do it. It's nothing to do with quick trade. Quick trade won't say you can't get out of trade. FSCA will be after us like you won't bloody believe.
All right, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Roger. I suspect then maybe it was connectivity issue, but the issue was that I was trying over a laptop, right? And
Yeah.
you see, when you are open on your PC, there is that X where you can just immediately get out of the trade. That X was not even reflecting on the trade itself. And then when I switched to my cell phone device, same thing. I would click and say long press, trying to exit. It was not giving me that option. So maybe we can just attribute that to network.
I honestly think it might be your side, because on the gold this side, I don't see any funny spikes or glitches. We had one guy complaining he had a problem with a spike on GBP CHF. So it found out he was with another broker and it was another platform. So I said, sorry, mate, let's go take it up with them. It's not our problem. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, but bottom line, Wandile, this side, I mean, I'm using the same platform as everybody else, you know, and I didn't have any glitches here. I got knocked out on my modified stop loss. I haven't heard anybody else mention that on the gold aspect. So I said, I'm leaning towards it might have been some sort of issue on your side. But if you're not sure, you always go to trade support, tech support on the live chat. But that's about the best I can come up with. Okay. If there had been an issue, I'd have told you right away, because it's very important. But don't ever go away and think I can't exit a trade because a quick trade won't let me. No. That's not. You've got liquidity, you can. And remember, quick trade uses MT5, not the other way around. It's a completely separate company. This platform is a major international platform which many brokers use. Okay. I mean, some like Standard Bank or Absa have their own platform, but data platforms are horrifically expensive. So most brokers use a platform. So you've got Stock Market College, Quick Trade, the broker, and you get MT5 or MetaTrader 5, the platform. Three totally separate companies. Okay, as long as you're good with that, Monday. Okay. I just want to go through something up here. Oh, hey, hang on. That sum's on the ball. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Good. Right. Get back to Christopher. Thanks. I was busy talking to one deal on the chart or whatever. And that's what I like when people help each other out. This is all about. So I'm babbling away about something else, and the question comes up and they can help the person. What a pleasure. Thank you for that, Pete. Anyway, going on to Chris now. Just remember, control mode is important. We didn't control them on the demo. Remember that, because there's no worries. And normally, I've done it myself many times. You normally go in bigger because you get bored. It's not real money and do daft things. But yeah, that being as it may, right. If you're going to go $5 for next Tuesday, we'll be doing gold. And as mentioned, if just before the release of the figures, if you're doing $1 above, $1 below, it's 20 Rand. If you're doing $2 above and below, it's 40 Rand a micro. Now, on $5, I usually sort of infer it is your money. You can risk what the hell you like, to be honest. It's your money. I'm just going to suggest a maximum risk on 5,000 Rand should be plus minus 300 Rand per instrument. You might get 3 or 4. And if all go wrong, you risk 1,200, don't forget. If four go wrong, 4 threes are 1,200, you know. But 300 Rand per trade or per instrument. But that doesn't be exact if it, you know, if 320 to get 4 instead of 3 micros, minis, or whatever. But the bottom line is, if it's $2 above and below, 40 Rand into 300, make it 320. It will be therefore 0.08. It'll be 8 microns. If you're doing 1 above and below, then it's 20 Rand a time. Then you can do 16 micros or 0.16. If you feel confident enough, because it's a buy-sells trade, it's not a normal trade, it's a straddle trade. And some of the guys have come back to me and said, I'm disappointed with the profit I made. I should have gone in bigger. And I've done it a couple of times now, and it seems to win most of the time. Well, never say every time. No, never get carried away and jump the gun. Murphy's Law and all that. But so far, we're doing it for 2 months now, and they've come up. If you did the trade right, I win every time. So hope it'll continue. You might want to go a little bit bigger. You might say, right, I can afford 400. Again, Chris and guys, it goes back to where your human psyche is. If you got $5 in your account and you got another 50 grand on fixed deposit, wait to come through in the next couple of weeks. Clearly 500-600 you can handle mentally, then you can go in bigger because you can handle it. It's not just what I suggest, is what you're comfortable with. But do not get away with the fact is if you reduce for fear factor risk and your comfort's fine, but obviously the potential profit is not going to be there. Because a lot of guys say, I don't want to risk getting much when I want to make some kind of horrendous return. Well, how's that going to be possible? If you're driving at 20 down the Cape Town, you're going to get there a lot more slowly than if you're driving 150. You get the idea. Okay, so just remember, what you give in one, you have to take on the other as well. It should be common sense, but our emotions take over and irrationality comes in. I don't want to spoil the dream or throw in cold water, or too much reality, but I just beg you, just think a little bit of, if I want something, I've got to give something in return. If you don't mind losing a lot, you still got to have enough margin. That's another point I want to mention, guys, on the mathematical side. It's that I can handle losing £5 grand, but you can't go in a position large enough to risk £5 grand because you don't have enough margin. Remember, you've got to have enough for the deposit. Does that make sense? Hope you're with me on that one. So I can risk £5 grand. So you start to try and you say, oh yeah, and you find maybe to get a £5 grand risk position, you might need maybe 15 grand margin, but you don't have 15 grand, so you can't do it even if you wanted to. Just bear that in mind. But if you want to do well out of it and you've got more money, like I mentioned, and you want to risk 1,000 rand, do it accordingly, and you should have enough margin for that. But if it doesn't come right, don't come shoot me. I'm just giving you the parameters to play with. Okay, Chris, you're living on that. Oh, by the way, I don't want to get too snotty here, Chris, but I've just been promoted to Lord, so it's now Lord Roger. Okay, got to get my title. I'm hoping it's going to be Duke soon. I'm just kidding. Lord of the Manor, that's the one. Okay, so we're all clear on that, Chris, and anybody else out there. Okay, do not, even though you've had successful ones that have all been so far, don't just jump in too big because you're so confident it does come. Something goes wrong, quite not well. Murphy's Law is always hiding around the corner somewhere, and don't break your heart. You know what I'm saying? In fact, never go into trade unless you can afford the risk of the loss. And if you can't afford any loss, then you're in the wrong business. I think we're all clear on that. But some guys say, you know, I want to trade, I want to make money, but I don't want to lose. Can you help me? Sure. And if you can afford and your head's right, it's a lot easier to trade. I was sweating blood if you're overexposed. Oh my God, it's going to come right. Oh, then your head's not right. And often you take a loss and it turns out it could have been a profit because you're sweating blood so much. No, it's the CPI. The US CPI is United States Consumer Price Index. And it's a big it comes out once a month, and it's a big representation of inflation, higher or lower, which is a guide towards the chairman of the Fed, a guy called Jerome Powell, what he's going to do about interest rates. And those interest rate decisions affect the world's markets and, of course, the dollar currency. So that's why it's important. So I'm going to be doing a session at 2 o'clock. The DART release is at 2:30 on Tuesday. So I'll do a 2 to 3 session. I start at 2, just so guys come in who do not know the mechanics of the straddle trade, show them how it works, so they get their order in just before 2:30, have it placed, and then run with it from there. That's what that means. But Angel, I don't know what sort of money you've got, but if you haven't got a couple of grand or you're only on the demo, please don't, you can come in, but don't take somebody's place up. But that being as it may, bear on that. Even if you got £1 million rounds, if you get in at 2, you're going to get a place. It's guys who join a bit late. And some guys, to be honest, they do join a bit late. Simply because I know the mechanics just want to join a bit late to get stuck in. Now they can't get in. Okay, so even if you know it and you want to reserve your seat rather than be there around about 2.
Hi, Roger.
Go for it.
You know, just to piggyback off what you just said right now about panicking and getting out at losses instead of profits. Remember when we were doing the NFP last Friday and the markets just went some type of way and they went back up. And I was asking you at that time or during that session if we need to protect. And during that time, I was actually very nervous. Like I almost just closed the trade in the negative, to be honest with you. Because then I waited and then I closed off in profits, you know?
Yeah.
So
I remember that. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So it went up and then it went all the way down past 1950, all the way to 1940 and so forth. So being patient is actually quite good and just calming your nerves. I think just to support what you just said right now, I experienced it firsthand as well. More than once. I've done closing in the negative and then it goes into profits, you know?
Yeah.
So it's always good to be patient.
Absolutely. I remember very clearly. You asked me, what do you think? And I said, I think you should be patient. There's a big difference in the actual and the expected. So I don't see why it shouldn't actually come right. It's a bit slow. I often see quicker moves on the release, but stick with it. I'm so pleased you did. And always remember again, guys, put in perspective how much money you got in it. I mean, you've got your house, you got your car, you got this, you got that. And if things go bottoms up, you lose 300 rands or 500 rand, it's not really going to change your life. And if it is, you shouldn't be going at that level anyway. So just try and put in perspective, be patient. If it goes wrong, I can afford it. And if it goes right, I'll be happy. But if it doesn't, I can afford it. It's when guys go in too big and they can't afford it. And then the whole rationality goes out the window and it's just pure emotional stress coming in and the adrenaline's flying and they're thinking 20 times a second. So it feels like everything's speeding up at us much quicker. That is not the way to do it because then you're not in control of your emotion is, unfortunately. It does take some practice. Look, and to be fair on yourself and everybody out there, it does take some practice. As I mentioned yesterday, it's like a slide rule, you know? The less the knowledge, the more the fear. The more the knowledge, the more the reduction the fear. You know what I mean? So when you first start, your fear is through the bloody roof and your knowledge is obviously 0. As your knowledge increases, your mind starts getting okay with it. You get the hang of what's going on and the fear starts cooling down. You're not staring at your positions all the time. You've got your strategies, etc. And this is really, I made a joke about it many times. You'd really be selling not stock market college, but psychological market college. Most of this business is nothing with bloody clever people or brains, it's psychology. And I've seen some extremely clever guys who let the psychology run away with them and make mistakes. And other guys, very much feet on the ground, who have maybe not as brilliantly intelligent or whatever, do even better because they've got control of that mind. Okay, and it's so important. In fact, just take a look at yourself and back in your life and be honest with yourself and say probably the majority of mistakes you made in relationships or anywhere is usually because of emotion took over. And you said something you didn't mean, or you're upset or whatever, and you said stuff that cannot be repaired, things like that. It's usually emotions somewhere along the line screwed it up. And there's nothing much more emotional than money. Money, unfortunately, is an extremely emotional subject. So yeah, just have to be aware of it. It takes a bit of time anyway. Yeah, that's all sorts of true on Dealey, yeah. But the best thing is, but it's, to be fair, it's not always easy that. They might be in a meeting, they might be doing something. I mean, the company's paying you to do a job, not to come sit and listen to me. And maybe the time to get away is maybe 10 past, so be it. But yeah, but if you can make it on time and then you got your seat reserved, okay. And please don't do what some guys do, come in about 2 minutes before the release and say, can you show how this trade works? Too late, mate, no. Or they say, I couldn't get away, can we still do the straddle trade after data release? No, you can't. You need to have it in the market, ready to rock and roll before the 2:30 release. But we'll go over that. I'm just giving you a bit of background, guys. We'll go over that Tuesday. And those who've done it already, like Zuzu and a few other guys there, done already, will know it's been pretty good. I don't want to invoke commentator's curse or Murphy's Law, but so far we've done it right the last 3 or 4 months, and they've worked out with big smiles. I know several guys put more money in because they're highly disappointed. They only made 10 instead of 50 or whatever, and they want to take advantage of it. But nothing is guaranteed. Okay. It could be. Yeah, it could be. Could be, Peter. You don't reserve it. The only time we get a full house is on the CPI and non-farm payroll sessions. So don't sweat on that one, Apple. Don't. I think 6:30. I'm not sure what day is it tonight. I'm not sure. All I do know is I'm filling in for Clinton on Saturday morning. He's got something he's got to go to with his wife, and which is understandable, fair enough. So I personally do on Saturday. I know it's done during the week as well. I'm not quite sure, but I'm just mentioning I will be doing it on Saturday. But most of the guys in the training room know how to operate it. Anyway, seeing that to join you just get bored. But don't have a book. It'll be room there. Don't have to worry on that. But if you have any doubts in this damn calculator, how it works, getting those damn volumes right, like I keep going on about, please join me. You cannot trade if you don't get those volumes correctly. I've said it again and again, I will say it again until you guys are sick to death of hearing it. That is probably the motions. That's ongoing, okay? But other than that, it's incorrect volumes, biting people in the backside. Yeah, got to do it. If you have any doubts, that damn calculator, don't go to one, go to a dozen. I don't care how many. Got to get that volumes correct. One size does not fit all. I don't want a guy to go in 0.01 on the gold, 0.01 on the euro dollar, and 0. Whatever. They're different risks each one. That's what the calculator is for. If it says 30 rand a micro and another trade says 100 rand a micro, well, clearly you do 3 times more of the 30 rand than you would on the 100 rand. Okay, it's basic arithmetic. And if that is too much, then go and get a maths course or something. Because you cannot trade success unless you've got that basic understanding of arithmetic behind it. Okay, good stuff. I want to spend some time because it is a bit quiet trading wise at the moment. Thanks, I'll just have a look at now, Cecil. But because these are important areas, I want to reiterate. So the guys who've been here a long time know it back to front, but they're probably bored the hell out of it now. But I need to reiterate till it's like a mantra. He can do what he likes. If he's happy with that, he's happy with that. There's millions of people have different strategies. I find it's a hedge. You got to buy and sell. So one hedges the other anyway. So that's why I don't bother stop loss TP. But if you want to put one in, it's up to you. I don't bother. All I do is I cancel one of them that's not filled, and then I can just put stop loss in afterwards. Once it's going in the direction of whichever direction that is, you've been filled in. But I'm not going to turn around and say, oh no, the Bollinger Band's wrong, or MACD's wrong, or the 58 exponential's wrong. Each has their own particular strategy. I have mine, he has his. You look at them both and what you're comfortable with. That's the point. Remember again, nobody, I don't care who you are, is right or wrong. It's opinions. Thank you very much. Pete came out just now. He says he's looking for a buy. We'll look at the Euro CHF in a moment. That's an opinion. I'm not going to turn around and say he's wrong. Obviously, I'm going to stick with mine because we've got a trade out half an hour beforehand. So all of a sudden you say, oh, you might have I got that wrong. No, I'm not going to do that. But I'm sticking my strategy, but I'm very wrong. I mean, some guys went short on the NAS and some guys went long. I was leaning towards the short, but being as it may, you know, who knows? I couldn't say it could have gone to 15,000. Okay, just bear that in mind. We take a view, we do our best, but we don't 100% know. That's what creates the market. Gold's not doing too badly. If you took the golds, by the way, you should be doing fine. It's going to a nice profit. Don't move your stop yet. It's too close. Start looking, getting up to entry, maybe it takes out 1960 or something. I don't know. Reduce the risk if you want, but don't get to entry too close. Don't get your stop too close. Right, where are we now? EU CHF, not really, it's not really happening actually, to be honest, Cecil. We got in about 40 on the sell, now it's 40 on the buy. Remember, that's the spread. You get in on the sell there, you get out on that one, it's about the same. Popping around, it's a bit quiet, sideways movement. AUD CAD, what's that doing at the moment? Not that great. AUD CHF, doesn't know where, that does not, neither seem to know where, what they're doing. It's drifting along. Yeah, so there it is. Bit quiet. Then took the GBP CHF. It's up to them. I think it's possibly a bit of downside there if you like it. So I think some guys waited. Yeah, it is quiet. That's why I'm taking some time to go over stuff. Okay, can I ask you to please explain buy stop limit and sell stop limit because you train these we don't use it? What do you mean you don't? Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Read the bloody thing, Roger. No, I don't encourage it. Basic means an automatic reversal of position. So let's say your range trading, I'll put a couple of lines on the chart to make life pretty easier for you. If your range, forget this stuff here, your range trading, right? You wouldn't be too happy you did it now, it's broke above it. But let's say your range trading, if you put a buy sell stop or the other way around, all it means that if that's entered, it gets up there, that's closed, and another one will open on the downside. So it's just instead of getting out then going in again, it'll automatically get you out on the long and then take you immediately on the short. It can be a bit complicated. I personally don't use them. I think don't worry about it. Rather, pick the buy stop and sell stop, buy limits, sell limits. Okay, and of course market execution. But that's basically what it is. Okay, Chris. Now, want to go on that? Yeah, a lot of guys get a bit confused. I'll follow on that subject on the. Let's just open trade. Yet. If you're going in at market, how long going to be in? Once you go into a trade at market, you're in it, and you'll be in that trade in perpetuity. The fancy way of saying forever, unless three things occur, well, four things occur. It hits your stop loss, hits your TP, your margin called, or you manually exit. But if you put in an amount now, and you've got enough money, there's no margin call problems, and you go away to, I don't know, Timbuktu for a month and come back, three things have occurred. You're still in the market, or it's hit your stop loss or TP, and then clearly you're out. So that's the way in market, you're in the market. A lot of people say, does that mean market execution? Well, yes, it does. You're in the market. However, if you're putting a pending order in, this is, you should know that, but I'll just do it quickly anyway, by limit, it says expiration. You've got a choice then. You can specify the time, or you can put today or GTC. If it's today, it means if that order is not filled, that's a pending order, not in the market. If that pending order is not filled, it'll be withdrawn the end of the trading day. In other words, midnight tonight. If it's a forex, okay. If you have GTC, it means that pending order will sit there until either it's filled or you personally delete it or cancel it. The next question is, will that cost you anything? No, it won't. You're not in the market. If you can put as many buy, sell them as you wanted and cancel them, it doesn't cost anything. They're just forward orders. They're all recorded, by the way, so don't get cute with us. Why did that happen? No, I stopped out. No, but you modify your stop. No, I didn't. We have it on the journal. If you, all those are recorded, so we got that to come back to see, look, and then print it out, show me, oh yes, I thought about that. To protect ourselves. But I hope you understand me. The GDC or the specified date, and you put the expiration date from specified or today, it only applies to pending orders, not to market orders. Hope we're all clear on that. Okay. It's not platform trading, get it? There's no harm in doing that. Okay. Are we all good with that? All good? Any questions? Happy? It's important, this stuff. So if you're not sure, it's worth going over again. These are bullet points, not through our explanation of details of it, just getting the bullet points understood. All good? Good. Starting to understand the accent now, guys. Let's just do gold then quickly. We got a trade out this morning, just after 9:30. Entered earnings about 1945, 1928. Same stoppers last time, 1980, same TP. So yeah, if you haven't joined it yet, maybe get a better price. I don't know, you might not. It's up to you anyway. But I've got a 928 stop, 1980 TP. If you don't get it, remember you modify, don't get to 98 like last time, didn't get to the target, didn't matter. Guys out took profit. If they're not out, we'll go to another trade, stay with it. But it's a good point to see that actually yesterday's fall. See how these can happen. That's why it's so important to protect yourself. It's like driving a seatbelt on or whatever. Yeah, it's important to protect yourself. It's going up beautifully. Got to 1970. Looks like it's heading beautifully onto our target. And then this is hourly chart. Remember, 3 hours later, tears. $30 move for whatever reason. Dollar came off. Was it? Did it go up? Oh, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what that happened actually.
That was after the Canadian interest announcement.
Could have been that, but that's it's important. But remember, Canada is a big country, but not an enormous. It's a successful company. There's only about 10, 11, 12 million people there. So their GDP is not as big as France, UK, Germany, those guys. I think just made that. That must be emotion if that's the case, Fardy, because I don't see why an economy of that size should have had such a dramatic effect on gold. US, yes, but not Canada. But anyway, clearly it did, but that's more emotional sense, in my opinion.
I agree, but I tried to think now, why is the Aussie remaining so strong? Because I cannot pick up anything that are boosting that. So it must be emotions. I mean, it's 0.5% stronger than the dollar that it folded already. Never mind the rest of the pairs.
Totally agree. This we understand. That's an unexpected interest rate increase, which happened with the Canadian. I get that. But but why should that's all discounted? This is what we're on now, an hourly chart. I had an hours and hours ago, so I'm not sure. It could be a bit of a profit taking. I don't know, maybe just a bit of profit taking, short covering, something like that. Remember, when you short cover, it means you're exiting a short position. What do? When you exit, guys, you buy. So if you're in a short, you don't sell to exit, you buy to exit. If you're long, you sell to exit. So probably short covering bounces, people not so much buying, maybe just exiting their positions, but not exactly. Yeah, I'm not too sure actually, to be honest. I'm clear if I thought some Aussie strength coming in, I would be buying, selling AED, CHF, AED, CAD. Certainly wouldn't be doing that, would I? So I'm not quite sure. As you mentioned, I think, remember we got since COVID. There's been an enormous increase in retail traders, and unfortunately, worldwide that is, millions have joined them. the bandwagon, for want of a better way of putting it. And unfortunately, a large percentage of those are trading on emotionally, but because the collective amount of them, it means the volumes are large enough to have some rather interesting reactions. I find quite a hassle, actually. Okay, so there we are. Right, guys. So just stick with your trades. As I say, you got your strategy. Keep your fingers crossed. Drifting along. In theory, it should have been a bit stronger, and I'm expecting some strength of the yen coming in. But I still say, Sam, the problem at the moment, everything's a bit sideways. It's just drifting. I mean, look at the EUR CHF. It's drifting. It's been hovering around the 40 mark, or we're on the hourly for the last couple of hours or so. See what I mean? It's sort of, you know, we're talking about a 14 pip range over the last half of a day. It's just drifting. Let's go to the yen as we speak, by the way. I actually, to be honest, I'm expecting could be a bit of downside here, but I wouldn't be selling it short. I think some, especially with the information coming on the dollar, jobless today, and more stuff coming next week. But I think the yen is slightly undervalued, and I think could be some strength in the yen coming up. GDP figures are quite right, weren't too bad. I just think the trade is sitting in the hands at the moment, a lot of them. Okay, Cecil, we're gonna wrap it up just now. Anyway, it's nearly 11 o'clock. Just mental my thoughts, and as Farney was saying, I agree with him really. I think it's probably more a bit of emotion. And remember, it gets boring when not much happens to get people doing things out of boredom with the prices. I mean, if you suddenly go in or go out, it doesn't make any difference. But if a million of you go and get out, collectives a lot of money, and it will move the markets, often in strange fashions. Often I'm asked, why did you do that? Why did you buy instead of selling? I'm not criticizing, you might be right. I'm just asking why. You look at me sort of blankly, I'm not quite sure. Happens a lot. Here's one I think is a possibility, some downside, by the way. Forgot about that. I mentioned earlier on in the session. A bit of a range trade at the moment. That's maybe yeah, too slow. I see downside there. I like the trade. What I don't like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A whole trading week of about a 30 pip range. You do not want to be stuck in that. Leave it alone. That's about all I've got for now, guys. Okay. Don't get too despondent and don't get too impatient. Hopefully it'll come right. Okay. Cheers. Any question before we go, or are we all good? Thank you, Chris. Take the Mickey there. Are we all good? Okay. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much. And yeah, catch you tomorrow morning. More of the CPI next week. I will post on my, whatchamacallit, QT WhatsApp group for you guys. Just an update. If you do put the $5,000 in there, Chris, let me know. I'll update you to my whatchamacallit, QT WhatsApp group. Okay. Cheers. Thanks, guys. Thanks for it. Cheers.